Alright, welcome back to another TikTok live stream. We're going through our level 1 workbook. Today we are going to look at how to use the air particle to talk about times. So in our table of contents we are right here. Time air V is what we're going to talk about. We're going to combine knowledge that we learnt before, talking about dates, times of the day, days of the week, etc. To use this air particle. So this air particle is used in a lot of different ways in Korean. Today we're focusing on seeing it used with times. Okay, so we're on page 101, time air V. Alright, so first let's look at just attaching it to nouns. We have a bunch of different nouns and we're just going to attach air to it, nice and simple. The main thing here is, do you know what these nouns are? This first one is 아침. 아침. If people are watching, they probably recognize this word. This word 아침 means morning. And when you add air to it, it means in the morning. So 아침에 means in the morning. This next one, 이번 주. 이번 주 is kind of two words. 이번 means this and 주 means week. 이번 주 means this week. Now with other nouns, you can just use 이 by itself, like 이 커피, this coffee, or 이 강아지, this dog. When you're talking about time words, it's more natural to use 이번. 이번 for like, it's literally like this time week, but with time words, it's more natural to use 이번 rather than just 이. So 이번 주, 이번 주에 becomes on this week, or at this week, or in this week. I'm not sure what the words would be in English, but one of those things. 이번 주. 이번 주에. Next one, C, is 점심. 점심. If anyone here is watching, does anyone know what the word 점심 means in Korean? This word here. 점심. Lunch, yes, Pooja, thank you. 점심 means lunch. So if you say 점심에, that means at lunch. At lunch. This 에 can really be in, at, on. It can be a lot of different prepositions. I don't know why in English we say this so many different ways. It's a little confusing. In Korean it's very simple. It's just 에. 점심에 means at lunch. Next we have this word, 월요일. 월요일 is one of the days of the week. Does anyone know or remember what 월요일 is? Monday, perfect. Thank you. Which book level is this? This is level 1. Level 1 workbook. 월요일 is Monday. And so, 월요일에, when you add the air particle, it means on Monday. Next we have 저녁. 저녁 means evening. 저녁에 means in the evening or at night. There's kind of two words. There's also 저녁 and there's 밤. 밤 means night. 저녁 also kind of means night. Similar to in English, there's not a fine line, right? When does evening become night? When does 저녁 become 밤? It's not clear. It's not a definite line. But this could be evening or nighttime. And this last one, this number here, this is for how you say 1 o'clock. This she at the end means o'clock. So this number here plus she is that number o'clock, 1 o'clock. And in Korea, 1 is said 한. This is how you say the number 1 in Korean. So this is 한시. I'm going to write it out so you can pronounce it. 한시에 means at 1 o'clock. Did I just start the live? Yes, I started about 4 minutes ago. 한시에 means at 1 o'clock. Okay, so next exercise we have is, given the Korean sentences, write an equivalent English expression. Yes, hello, my kitten is meowing at me, if you can hear him. He's fine though. Alright, so number 2A, this first one is 저는 아침에 운동해요. 저는 아침에 운동해요. So let's break this down. This first one, 저는, means I. I. Now this next part, 아침에, we had it up here, right? 아침에 means in the morning. Morning in, literally. 아침 means morning. 에 is this particle showing that it happens in or at some time. And then 운동해요 means to work out or exercise. So I, in the morning, work out. Or I work out in the morning. You can also say, like, I exercise in the morning. That's also fine. You can also rewrite this to say, in the morning I work out, or in the morning I exercise. That's also fine. There are multiple ways that you can say this in English based on this sentence here. 저는 아침에 운동해요. Next we have 저는 저녁에 공부해요. 저는 저녁에 공부해요. Pudra, yeah, beautiful, perfect. I, in the evening, 저녁 is evening and 에 means at that time or in that time. So I, in the evening, 공부해요. 공부해요 means to study. So I study in the evening. It also could be I study at night. Again, like I said, this 저녁 versus 밤 is not clear always of what is the evening and what is night. Either of those is fine. 에 is also a particle for an action happening at a place, right? There is actually another particle, the 에, so particle, which we learn in the next few chapters, which is when you're doing an action at a place. So there's two different particles. This one specifically that we're learning right now is using it to talk about times, but it's not the only way that 에 is used. It's also used to show a location of something, and it can be used in some other specific situations, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay. C. 톰은 이번 주에 일해요. 톰은 이번 주에 일해요. 이래요. So, Tom, this is someone's name, the name Tom. 이번 주, we learnt this before, 이번 주 means this week. Tom this week at or in. Tom this week, he 이래요. He 일해요. Thank you, Ali. I appreciate that. 일해요. Does anyone know what this verb means? 일해요. We know that 운동해요 is to work out and 공부해요 is to study. What is 이래요? To work. Yes, beautiful. La la la, yes. It means to work. So Tom this week works, or Tom works this week. Okay. And lucky last, 사라는 월요일에 한국어를 공부해요. Sarah is someone's name, like before, so this is Sarah or Sarah. Sarah, 월요일에. Now we had this noun before. 월요일 is Monday. And 에 is at that time. So on Monday, 한국어를 공부해요. Pudra, yes, beautiful. She, on Monday, Korean studies. In Korean, the verb always comes last in the sentence. So, Sarah on Monday, Korean studies, or Sarah studies Korean on Monday. And it could be Mondays, either one. I'll put the S in brackets. All right. All right, number 3. We have the other way around. So given the English sentences, write an equivalent expression in Korean using time er. The first one, I study Korean in the morning. We're talking about ourselves, so let's start with 저는, I. Now we have our time word next. We're going to do our in the morning. We know that 아침 is morning, so that goes first. And then to say that something happens at that time, we add 에. In the morning. So 에 can be a time and a location particle. Yes, it can be both. Think of all the times, or most of the time, actually no, I won't say that, because that might be confusing. But yes, it can be time and location. 저는 아침에 morning in. I in the morning. We're going to have this last part, study Korean. Again, remember the study in Korean always comes last. So we're going to save this verb for last. We put the object first. The object is 한국어, Korean, the Korean language. And because it's the object, we use the object particle. We study Korean, right? That's what we're studying. So that takes the object particle. And then we have our verb last. 공부해요. 저는 아침에 한국어를 공부해요. I in the morning Korean study, or I study Korean in the morning. Next we have I work out in the evening. I work out in the evening. So we're going to start with 저는. We're talking about ourselves. Evening. So anyone remember what evening is in Korean? Have a think about it. If you remember that vocabulary word, it is on this page. It is on this page. If you can find it, the word for evening. Someone's got to know it. 저녁, Sarah, perfectly. Yes. 저는, 저녁. And then don't forget our 에 particle, right? In the evening is 저녁에. And then workout is 운동해요. 운동해요. 저는 저녁에 운동해요. I work out in the evening. Next, C. In the evening, I watch movies. All right. So here we've switched the order slightly in English, right? I work out in the evening versus in the evening, I watch movies. But the sentence structure in Korean is still the same. 사랑해 아줌마. Oh boy. I don't think I'm an 아줌마 yet. Yes. In the evening, I watch movies. So you can put 저는 first if you like. In any of these sentences, 저는 is optional, right? As we know in Korean, you don't always need to include the subject of who is doing something. But if you like, you can add 저는. And now we put out in the evening. 저는 저녁에. In the evening, I watch movies. I watch movies. Am I a chaebol? I'm also not a chaebol. Movies is 영화. 영화 is movies, and it's the object of our watching, right? We watch the movie, so we use the object particle. And then the last one is 봐요. I watch. Question, the order is SOV, but where do I put the location, time, and all those words and the order? So Korean is fairly loose with those other words. You can say, like, for example, you can say 저녁에 저는 영화를 봐요. That's also fine. It's not really that strict when it comes to the time words and where they go in the sentence. Generally towards the start, though, you wouldn't want to really have it at the end of the sentence, although people would still be able to understand. It wouldn't be supernatural. So generally, those time words go towards the end, and then like the objects and things go close to the verbs. So to show that connection between the object and the verb, the objects go towards the end generally, and then subjects like 저는 go towards the start, and time words go towards the start. All right. I make pizza on Friday. I make pizza on Friday. So we have our optional topic, 저는 on Friday. We'll put our time word next. On Friday, we need the word for Friday first. Oh, so just put it after the subject? Yeah, that's an easy rule to remember. Just put the time word after the subject. What book is this? This is the Level 1 workbook. This is the level Earl Grey Girly. Beautiful, good sentence. This is the Level 1 workbook. This is what the cover looks like. So Friday is 금요일. 금요일 literally is like gold day. So Friday is gold day literally in Korean, which I think is highly appropriate actually. 금요일에 means on Friday. On Friday, I make pizza. Pizza is the English word just written in Korean, 피자를, And the verb to make is 만들어요. 만들어요. What if I have a time and a place in one sentence? It's not completely strict. There's not like a thing you have to go, time then place or anything like that. And we'll see the sentences using those later on. So you can kind of put it in any order generally. 저는 금요일에 피자를 만들어요. Yep, 만들어요. All right. That means on Fridays, pizza I make. Or on Fridays, I make pizza. I drink coffee in the morning. I drink coffee in the morning. Talking about ourselves still, so optional. You can put in 저는 if you like. Now, in the morning is the same as what we had up here, right? It's 아침에. 아침에 means in the morning. Coffee in Korean is 커피. 커피. 커피 again, remember not to say 커피. If you say 커피, it means nosebleed. 커피 is coffee. 커피를 마셔요. 커피를 마셔요. 아침에, in the morning, coffee, I drink, I 마셔요. All right. And lucky last, we have F. I read books on Sunday. Now you can see Sunday has been provided as a vocab word. Actually, Friday was as well. 일요일. 일요일 literally is the first day. 일, you can remember, means the number 1, and it also means day. So 일요일 literally means first day. If it helps you remember it, 저는 일요일에, on Sunday, the word for book is 책. 책. This ends on a consonant, right? So we need to add All these other nouns end on vowels, so they use ler, but this one ends on a consonant, so we attach 책을 읽어요. 저는 일요일에 책을 읽어요. I read books on Sunday. 읽습니다. Yeah, you can also use 씁니다, just a little bit more formal. This is Korean grammar book or workbook. This is the workbook, the level 1 workbook. Would 책이 work as well? The problem with using 책이 is that it makes it the subject of the sentence. Remember that the subject particle shows who is doing some action. So using 책이 would not make sense because it means that the book is reading. If you say 일요일에 책이 읽어요, it means on Sunday the book reads, which does not make sense because books cannot read. It has to be the object particle to show that you're reading the book. The book is the object of the sentence, if that makes sense. All right. Next, we have some multiple choice questions. Number 1, the air particle can be used to 1, show the destination of movement, 2, indicate that something happens at some certain time, or 3, both of the above. So what can the air particle be used to do? When do I use 씁니다 and 합니다 and when 입니다? It depends on the final consonant of the verb. Yes, it can be both. The air particle can be used to show a destination of movement, like 학교에 가요, I go to the school. And it can also be used to show at a certain time, like 저녁에 먹어요, I eat in the evening. B, it is possible to have more than one air particle in a sentence. True or false? Can you have more than one air particle in a sentence? Yes, it is true. It is true. You can and often do have more than one air particle in the sentence, and they're not necessarily all doing the same things. You can have a location, you can have a time, you can have all of those things in a sentence, and they could all have air particles on them. And it's not incorrect. C, if you're using more than one time word, for example, on October 1st at 3 p.m., you should 1. Place air only on the first time word. 2. Place air only on the last time word. Or 3. Place air on every time word. Can I have an example? I can do an example here. So it could be like 아침에, 학교에 가요. This is an example where you have two air particles in a sentence. 아침에 means in the morning. 학교에 means to school. So in the morning to school I go. Or I go to school in the morning. And yes, the answer here is number 2. If you have more than one air time going on in a sentence, you put it at the end. Is it possible to have two destination particles in one sentence? What sort of sentence would that be, though? If you're saying that you go to two places, like if I'm going to Korea and Japan, you would put air after the last location. You could say something like, in Japan, there are many people at the mall or something like that. That could use two air particles. So yeah, I think yes. D. Which of the following time nouns does not use the air particle? 1. 어제, yesterday. 2. 오늘, today. 3. 내일, tomorrow. Or 4. All of the above. And I see all of you putting in yes. All of the above, they do not use the air particle. There are some time words in Korean that you don't use air. Actually, it's fairly similar to English, how in English we don't say, on Monday I go to work, or on today I go to work, or on yesterday I went to school. All of those sound a bit strange. You don't use the air particle with these words. They can use the topic particle though. So you can say 오늘은, 어제는, 내일은, etc. All that is fine, but you just don't use the air particle. All right, E. Which of the following sentences is correct? 1. 저는 오늘에 운동해요. 2. 저는 저녁에 운동해요. 3. 저는 지금에 운동해요. Or 4. 저는 올해에 운동해요. Can they have 이가 too? Yes, they can have 이가 as well. It's less common, I would say, and then it'd be more common, but it's possible to have 이가 as well. And yes, the correct answer here is number 2. 저는 저녁에, in the evening exercise, is natural. All of these ones would not use the air particle. All right. What does 올해에 mean? 올해 means this year. This year. Confusingly, the word for next year, 내년, does use the air particle, but the word for 올해, this year, does not, which is a little confusing perhaps, but you get used to it. 올해 means this year. 내년 means next year. Can I translate all 4 to see the difference? Yes, I can. This is the level 1 workbook. This is the cover right here. So this one, 저는 오늘에 운동해요, means, or 오늘에 doesn't make sense. Well, that would mean I study on today. I work out on today. I work out on today. I'm going to cross out the on. This one is correct. It means I work out in the evening. This one literally means I work out on now. Right? That also doesn't make sense. And this last one means I work out on this year, which is also strange. Where is the this in the sentence? This? I'm not sure. All right. Yeah, it's related to this question. They're similar. All right. This is a challenge question. So the challenge is, which of the following sentences could not be a good translation of I don't work next week? Oh, in the sentence this year. The this is kind of included. Ore, literally, we don't have our own word in English for this year. Just like we have a different word for next year. I don't know, we could potentially have our own word for this year and next year, but we don't. We just say this year and next year. But in Korean, they do have their own word for this year that exists in its own year. 다음 주, what does it mean? That means next week. Can I have the name of this book? It is the Level 1 workbook. This is what the cover looks like. This is it right here. All right, let's look at this challenge question. So which of these is not a good sentence? Let's look at them one by one. The first one is 저는 다음 주에 일을 안 해요. Number 2, 다음 주에는 일을 하지 않아요. Number 3, 다음 주가 일을 안 해요. And 4, 저는 다음 주 일 안 해요. Which one is wrong? Which one is strange? So the answer here is number 3. This one is strange. Why? Have a think about it. Have a think what's wrong with this sentence. Why is this sentence strange? It's got to do with the subject particle. That it shouldn't be the subject particle. Yes, correct. Yes. So it cannot be the subject particle. Why? Because if you make it the subject, it means that this noun, the 다음 주, which means next week cannot work. So you're making 다음 주, next week, the subject of the sentence. You're saying that next week, as an entity, next week can't work. As in, if next week was a person, they couldn't work. But next week is not a person, right? It doesn't make sense why a week could or could not work. It doesn't make sense. But all these other ones do make sense. You can say 다음 주에, on next week, I can't work. You can say 다음 주에는. That means as for on next week. How would you say next week is not working for me? It depends kind of what you're saying. You could say like 다음 주에 못 만나요, like I can't meet you next week, for example, you could say. But it sort of depends on the context a little bit. Like it's not a good week. Yeah. And then this last one, this has just dropped all the particles, which isn't a perfect sentence, but it's not necessarily wrong, and people can understand you. Dropping the particles from a sentence is more commonly done in spoken language. It's not really that appropriate for written language, but it can still be done in casual language and other things like that. So dropping the particles is also okay, but adding the subject particle to 다음 주 does not make sense because weeks cannot work. All right, this is your testing your knowledge of how particles work, particularly how subject particles work and what they do. All right. Okay, now we have some more practice exercises. Here, we're going to look at sentences that actually have 2 air particles, right? We looked at this, we said this earlier that you can actually have 2 air particles. So let's practice that. Here, we have a time air and a place air. A, in the morning, I go to school. Question, does the workbook come with an answer key? Yes, indeed it does. Indeed it does. We also put in a lot of little tips and notes as well to help explain things. In the morning, I go to school. Well, in the morning is 아침에. 아침 is morning and 에 means in the morning. 아침에. 학교 is school. 학교. 학교 is school. 학교에 means to the school. We learned about 에 가다 오다 earlier in this book. 아침에 학교에 가요. In the morning, I go to school. Now notice we do have two air particles, right? But that's fine. They're doing kind of different things. This one's saying it's in the morning, and this one's saying it's to the school. 저는 아침에 학교에 갈 거예요. You could also say that. You're using the future tense, which means in the morning I'm going to go to school or I will go to school. Why not 학교로? You can also say 학교로 가요. Literally that means kind of you're heading towards the school, you're going to go towards the school. It is also possible though. It is possible. B, at 4 o'clock, I go to the library. At 4 o'clock, I go to the library. So 4, the number 4 has actually been provided to you. 4 o'clock, 4시. But in Korean, this number 4 would be read 4시. 4시 is 4 o'clock. In Korean is 4. So 4시에, at 4 o'clock, library. Library in Korean is 도서관. 도서관에 means to the library. I go. I 가요. 가요 means to go somewhere. So 4시에 도서관에 가요. At 4 o'clock, I go to the library. 3. I go to Korea in the fall. In the fall. Fall in Korean has also been given to you down here as a vocab word. It is 가을. 가을 is fall. So 가을에, in the fall, I go to Korea. Korea in Korean, as you probably all know, is 한국. 한국에, to Korea, I go. 가을에 한국에 가요. That is a beautiful time of year to go to Korea, actually. In fact, this year in the fall, I am going to go to Korea, which I'm very excited about. I'm looking forward to my trip. It'll be really, it's been a long time since I was there, so I'm looking forward to going back. All right. D, I go to the movies on Friday. On Friday, I go to the movies. So Friday, we have it provided to us is 금요일. Again, gold day. 금 means gold in Korean. 금요일에. On Friday, 영화. 영화 is movies, and then you can say 영화관 to say movie theater. Literally, it's kind of like movie place. 영화관에 가요. Gold because it's rest day. Gold because Friday is awesome. I mean, also because of rest, I suppose. But yeah. And I see people in the comments are using the future tense, which is also fine. You can say 금요일에 영화관에 갈 거예요. That is also fine. Using 는 instead of 에 would be wrong. You could use 는, but the feeling is slightly different. If you said 금요일은, 금요일에 is better. You could say 금요일에는. You could add a 는 at the end here. And it just adds a little bit more contrast feeling. You're saying like, as for Friday, I go to the movies. I don't go to the movies on other days. If you said 금요일에는 영화관에 가요, it's that feeling of like, yeah, as for on Fridays, I go to the movie theater. But like on other days, I don't. What level should you be to start this workbook? You should be a beginner. This is appropriate for beginners. We are towards the end of this book though, so if you start at the beginning, you'd be in good shape. I also recommend getting the textbook as well. This is the textbook, by the way. We've got more explanations and more example sentences and stuff in here to start with. So I would start with this and then start at the beginning of the workbook. Yeah, you're welcome. At 6 o'clock, I go to the gym. Is 영화들을. So I can see why you're adding 들, right? Because you're making it a plural. But you don't need to add the plural marker to movies in Korean. 영화관 by itself is probably more natural. Yeah. How is gym in Korean? Gym in Korean is 헬스장. 헬스장. So we're going to start with the time first. We're going to start with this time, which is this one here. 6시. 6시. Can I say 운동관? You can say 운동관. 운동장 is probably more natural. 운동장 is also kind of like exercise place. People will still use 운동장 as well. So at 6시, 6시에. 헬스장 is more kind of what we think of as a gym in English. You know, a place where you go, they have treadmills, they have, you know, weight stations, that sort of thing. A 운동장, I think, is more of a, how would I say, kind of less high-tech kind of place that has, I don't know, you do sports there, like a sports field would be an 운동장. So it would be a slightly different kind of place. Sports field, sports place. Is 헬스 Konglish for health? It is indeed. 헬스 is health. So it's literally health place. Is gym in Korean. Is gym and exercise the same in Korean? Gym is 헬스장 and exercise is 운동. So a little different there. 6시에 헬스장에 가요. All right. Number 6. Write sentences using time AV that also use 못. So 못, we learned earlier in this book, it means can't or cannot. Things that you are not able to do. And it goes before the verb, and it goes in the middle of separable hada verbs. If you remember, when we learn about hada verbs, we learned that when you have 못 with them, that goes in the middle. We'll probably see at least one of those in here. So we'll practice that. Number 1, I can't go next week. I can't go next week. All right, so first we're going to need this next week thing. We're going to put our time word before the verb. I can't go next week. And next week, we know, we had it earlier, if you remember, 다음 주. 다음 means next and 주 means week. So it does literally mean next week. 다음 주에. You could also put a 는 here if you like. 다음 주에 or 다음 주에는. Adding this 는 makes it a little bit more emphasis. You know, like as for next week particularly, I can't go. And then we're going to have our 못. 못 means cannot. 가요 means go. So 다음 주에 못 가요. Or 다음 주에는 못 가요. The 는 is there just to add a little bit more emphasis. You don't need it. It's not required. If you like, you can add it to add a little bit more emphasis of like, particularly next week. Maybe other weeks you're free, but like next week you're not. That's that feeling of adding 는. All right. B. I can't study in the evening. What time is it for me? It is 5:38 p.m. B. I can't study in the evening. So we're going to start with our time word first, which is evening. In Korean, that's 저녁. 저녁에. Or if you like, you can add 는 again. 저녁에는 or 저녁에. Now, study. Be careful of this verb, right? This verb, study, is a separable hada verb. What does that mean? It means that 못 has to go in the middle. So, 공부 못 해요. You can also add a 를 here if you like. 저녁에는 or 저녁에 공부를 못 해요. Would it be read 뭔가요 or 못 가요? It would be 못 가요. What about 오후 for evening? You can add 오후 for evening if you like. That literally is kind of like adding PM. In English, when we say like I'm at 4 p.m. I'm going here, that's kind of like 오후. These hada verbs still confuse me. I know hada verbs is a little bit confusing. Let me explain a little bit about this hada verb and why there's a 릴 here. So a hada verb, particularly a separable hada verb, is comprised of two things. There is the noun and there is hada. This is what a separable hada verb is. It has two parts. The noun kombu is the noun meaning study. Study, oh, that's not enough space. Study, and hada means to do. So study hada literally means to do study. Now, as a verb, you put them together to make one verb, but you can also split them. You can split them into two parts. You can separate the noun from hada, and in that case, the hada verb is a verb that's acting upon the noun. To do hada, so this is equivalent with kombu를. Remember that the 를 object particle shows that some noun is the object of the verb. So kombu를 하다 also means study, to do, but you've just split it into two parts. These two parts were always there in the noun, in the verb. There was always a noun plus hada, but here you've split it up. There's other verbs like this, like 운동하다 is also a separable hada verb. 운동 means is a noun meaning exercise, and hada means to do. So 운동하다 means to do exercise. How long will this live be? It'll be another probably 10 minutes or so. And when you have a separable hada verb, that's when 못 goes in the middle. If you said 저녁에 못 공부해요, everyone would understand you, but it's not very natural. It's much more natural to say 저녁에 공부를 못해요 or 저녁에 공부 못해요. This object particle is not strictly required. You don't necessarily need to put it. I would say it's better to use it in writing. If you're using written language, I would add the particle. In spoken language, I'd say you can probably drop it. But yeah. C. I can't go to Korea this year. I can't go to Korea this year. We had the word for this year earlier in this live stream. It's 올해. 올해 means this year. And then remember that this is a bit of a trick question. 올해 does not use the 에 particle. Question, do I have the books on Amazon? Yes, the books are available on Amazon. I really want to practice speaking. Probably your best bet is to try to find a Korean-speaking friend or tutor. You can probably hire tutors or try and go to a language meetup, something like that. 올해 or 올해는 한국, Korea, to Korea 못 가요. 올해 한국에 못 가요. Pre-play, good for tutors, yeah. Hello Talk is good. Hello Talk I recommend. You can do that as well. If you're shy, another thing you can do, people don't talk about this technique very much, but I recommend it. You can just record yourself speaking or just speak out loud to yourself. Like I talk to myself in Korean in the shower sometimes, legitimately I do. You can talk to yourself in your head, you can talk to yourself out loud. Like it's fine, like nobody's gonna judge you. Like I do that myself. And it's a good way to practice your speaking, practice your tongue moving, things like that. There's another thing you can do. I speak to myself too sometimes. Yeah, do it. It's actually a good way to practice. And if you're particularly brave, you can record yourself and listen to it as well. You can also like listen to clips of native speakers talking and try to mimic their sounds, try to copy them. That's called shadowing, when you listen to somebody else and then record, like speak back what you hear. That's also a really good way to practice speaking. Yeah. I'm in Ohio. Do I speak any other languages as well? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Just Korean. And English, I suppose. D. I can't drink coffee in the evening. I can't drink coffee in the evening. The evening is 저녁. 저녁 can use the 에 particle, right? 저녁에 or 저녁에는. In the morning, I can't drink coffee. Coffee is 커피. 커피를 is the object. 못, I cannot. And 마셔요 is to drink. 저녁에 커피를 못 마셔요. I can't drink coffee in the morning. Is the either optional? It is kind of optional. 커피 못 마셔요. You could also say it's more casual feeling, a little bit more common in spoken language. But as a general rule, you don't always technically have to include the particles. It's not necessarily required. E, I can't drink alcohol in the morning. I can't drink alcohol in the morning. So the in the morning is 아침에 or 아침에는. You could also add the 는 here if you like. That again just adds a little bit more feeling of contrast. You're saying that in the morning you can't drink alcohol, but at other times you can. 아침에는 alcohol in Korean is 술. 술 is alcohol. 술을 못 마셔요. 아침에는 술을 못 마셔요. How much do we sell the book for? I think the book is $18 US. The PDF, I believe, is $13 or $14. So they're not too expensive. I'm not sure about the Philippines, about shipping and everything, but yeah, not too bad. Could you use E or car after alcohol? No, you cannot. Why can you not use E or car after alcohol? Well, it's because it makes it the subject of the sentence. And the subject of the sentence, remember, is who or what is doing the action. Who or what is doing the action. So if you said 술이 못 마셔요, literally it means the alcohol cannot drink. It means the alcohol cannot drink, which does not make sense, right? Because alcohol cannot drink things. So it can only be the object here. Yes. Does the book explain subject-object particles properly? Yes, it does. We actually have a whole section earlier where we contrast them specifically. So you can practice, choosing the right particle. I'll sort of show you it here. If I can find it. Yeah. So in this section, we contrast ikar and ölö, and you practice choosing the right one. Here, in this part here, for example, you're choosing the right particles in this sentence. And so we do talk about it quite a bit. We have a whole section here about, action verbs, descriptive verbs, subject particles, object particles, to help explain that. Once you get it, it makes a lot of sense. Once it clicks, it makes sense. But it does take time to get used to it, because it's just not how we do it in English. All right. Since when do I have these lives? How long does it take you to finish a whole book on live? I've never finished a whole book yet. I will finish this whole book in a few weeks. But I've been doing these live streams for probably a good few months now. Yeah, once it clicks, I know. You're fine. I know how difficult it is. I've been there. I've been where you are now, really confused with particles. So I know exactly how confusing it is. Don't worry, you've got this. All right, so we looked at some example problems here. Next, we have a dictation exercise. I won't do it right now, but if you get this book, definitely check out these dictation exercises. You just follow this link, listen to the track, and write down what you hear. So it's great practice for your listening skills. What times do I stream? I stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you. I love language learning. I'm encouraging language learning. I love languages, and I want to support other people who love languages too. Every day, not every day, every Monday. Every Monday I do level 1, and every Tuesday I do level 2. So if you're still a beginner, maybe just come Mondays. If you want to challenge yourself or if you want to take things to the next level, you can come back on Tuesday for level 2 as well. And yes, this is the cover, the level 1 workbook. And it does come with answers in the back. It does come with answers. There is also a PDF available if you prefer a PDF. Do we ship to the UK? We can ship to the UK, but I recommend buying it from the UK Amazon store to get lower shipping costs. Do you sell a book for vocab? We don't sell a specific vocab book. We recommend learning them both at the same time, although we are planning on making a vocab book probably next year. Where can I find the PDF? On our website, gooseapplebooks.com. Question, do I speak Spanish? Unfortunately, no, I do not speak Spanish. Question, how long ago did you start learning Korean? I started learning Korean about eight years ago. Yeah, so it's been a minute. I'm still learning though. Learn a little bit every day. Most days. I don't study every single day, but most days. What made you decide to learn Korean? I moved there. And I knew I was going to be living there for a year, so I wanted to learn a little bit of the language. I wanted to learn how to read and write some basic sentences. And then fell in love with it. Fell in love with the language, fell in love with the country, fell in love with the food, fell in love with the people, and I've just kept it up ever since. Why is the name it is? I don't know. I guess we split the textbook into 5 levels, and so each level is just level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, etc. I don't understand a few of the explanations. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. Learning Korean is pretty confusing right now. Does it become easier to understand after a while? Yes, it does get easier over time. Just like with anything when you're starting it, it's challenging, it's difficult. There's a lot of new information. You're trying to take it all in. It takes time, and the more you spend with it, the more time you put into it, the more effort you put into it, the easier it gets, ultimately. It's a muscle. Languages are a muscle that you build, and the more you work on it, the stronger you get. Recommend the Japanese classes. Oh my goodness. There is some crossover between them. I know Japanese and Korean have somewhat similar grammar, but vocabulary-wise, it's different. It's a very different language. Do we cover colours? We do cover colours, but we do it in level 3. We do it in level 3. The first chapter of level 3 is about colours, and actually it's one of my favourite chapters that I've written, because colours in Korean are super interesting. So if you want to do level 3, and the Hiet irregular, obviously, if you want to talk about colours, look at colours, I recommend the level 3 workbook. Because, yeah, colours are super confusing. It's funny, in English, you think about the first things you learn in school or whatever, you learn shapes, you learn colours. Colours in Korean are not so easy. Do I do the books all by myself? I do not. I have a team. There are 3 of us. There's me, myself, Katarina. There is Chelsea. Chelsea is another native English speaker. She's been learning Korean for, I think, like 14 years. And then Eugen. Eugen is a native Korean speaker, and the 3 of us make these workbooks together. I don't understand the English. I know if English is not your first language, I'm sorry. This is probably very difficult. I give a special congratulations or special props to anyone who's learning Korean using English materials who's not a native English speaker. That's extra hard. So mad props to you. Yes, I'm the only one that does these live streams. Chelsea and Eugen don't do the live streams, but we make these workbooks together. You catch yourself thinking in Korean. That is the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate goal. Is black in Korean black or common? It's both. There's actually more words than that for black than either of those two. Gamjong, common. There's lots of words for colours in Korean. All right. And lucky last, what I will do before we end the live stream is just read out this paragraph here. There is a little reading exercise. I'm going to read it out loud and just try and follow along, see how much you understand. Alright, reading exercise. 저는 소피예요. 중학생이에요. 학교에 가는 것을 좋아해요. 월요일, 화요일, 수요일, 목요일, 그리고 금요일은 학교에 가요. 오전 8시, 8시에 학교에 가요. 보통 1시에 점심을 먹어요. 그리고 3시에 집에 가요. 금요일 오후에 보통 친구들을 만나요. 그리고 같이 축구를 해요. 여름 방학은 6월에 시작해요. 우리 가족은 캠핑을 갈 거예요. 재미있을 거예요. I made the book that's so cool. Do you ship internationally? We do. We do indeed. I'm not sure on shipping costs, but we do. You can order from our website and we ship internationally. All right, so this was this little paragraph. I hope you understood at least some things, recognized some words. Maybe you understood some of it. Maybe you understood most of it. If you're lucky, you understood all of it. Congratulations if that's you, but it's not necessarily expected. You might only know a couple things, might have to guess some things. That's normal, don't worry. Which level is this book you're showing? This is level 1. This is beginner level, but it's towards this middle, later half of the book. So we've already covered quite a lot of material, so you should be able to technically understand all of these things, but it might take time to break things down and figure it all out. Especially when you're new and you're learning, having this much text in one place can be a little overwhelming, but just take your time, break it down, go word by word, and you should be able to figure it out. All right. So that we do have a translation of this in the back of the book as well if you want to check it, but this does bring us towards the end of our live stream. We're getting towards the end of this hour, so I wanted to finish it here. Next time, next Monday, we will be looking at how air can be used in some other final ways. We saw how it's used to talk about locations, going places, saw how it's used for times, and we're also looking at a couple more usages in this section as well. Is it topic level 1? It is within topic level 1. Topic level 1 and 2, beginner level topic, is the content from this book. Yes. So, one final time, this is the cover of the book, the level 1 workbook. If you're interested, if you've enjoyed this live stream, be sure to check it out. If you want to self-study, there are answers in the back you can read and check and learn from as well, so you don't have to be in this live stream. You can get it and study by yourself in your own time, at your own pace, and that's totally fine as well. It is available on Amazon. It is available in PDF. If you prefer a digital version, you can get the PDF. There's also available an ebook, and on our website we do ship internationally. So there's lots of ways to get it. If you're interested, go check it out. And I'll be back next week to talk about air used in some final other situations. And then, we'll keep going from there. Thank you guys so much. Are my lives on YouTube? Yes, good question. My lives, I do upload them to YouTube after they're finished. So you can go to YouTube, Goose Apple Books. If you search for Goose Apple Books, you'll find us on YouTube. You can watch old live streams there if you want to watch an older one. Or if in future weeks, if you miss them, you can come back and watch them on YouTube. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Hope you have a wonderful Monday and a wonderful rest of your week. And I'll see you next time. Bye. 다음에 봐요. See you next time. 감사합니다. Thank you. Bye.